another Hot or Hype deep dive. Today we're coming to you live from Oracle Park, the Giants' home base. We are with Olivia, as always, and Dan. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Dan.
Hi, my name is Dan Quill. I am the Senior Director of Software Engineering. I have been with the Giants 28 years.
Exciting stuff. Look, we're here to talk about AI in baseball. We might touch on some other topics around sports, perhaps. It does cross over a little bit, but there are some certainly cross-cutting industry concerns.
Yeah, we might get off topic a little bit. We know each other a little bit, so.
Yes. How long have we known each other for?
Probably 10 years.
10 years.
It's been a while. We started in 2016.
Yeah.
Doing some work together, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
That was our first roundup.
Disclaimer that we might get off topic, but we'll
try and keep it on topic today. All right. So let's talk about AI in baseball. So, I do also want to cover off the outreach you're doing on behalf of the Giants as well as your team. So we definitely want to cover that off today. But let's talk about the good old days versus the era of AI. Once upon a time, scouting was all about, radar guns and how fast you can throw the pitch, right? What's happening now in AI in sports? I know it's more than scouting. I know there's other topics to cover, such as fan engagement, on-field, off-field. Baseball is a rich environment with so many interesting things to talk about and so traditional as well. And that's why I love this intersection of, the modern AI versus the sport traditionalism of baseball.
So which one of those topics are we covering?
We're going to cover them all, I hope. Let's start with what's happening in fan engagement. Let's start with the fans who keep the sport what it is today.
Sure. I'd say that's probably where the largest amount of work is going on. Mm-hmm. We're doing a lot of work tied to improving our analytics approach. That's where the majority of the effort is. It's a little bit behind the scenes, but there is some fan-facing things that are going on in the ballpark. The big one that we did last year was a pretty creative use of AI-generated imagery on the big board during special events. I think that had some decent traction.
So you actually put it up on the big screen.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, you'd send in your picture, and then it would get AI'd, and it'd come back with whatever the special event that night was.
Nice.
So in the Star Wars one, it would.
Yeah, you'd look like a Jedi, or you'd look like a stormtrooper, or something.
Kids would have loved that.
Yeah. No, that was.
That's pretty cool.
I think that
bit of wholesome family fun.
Yeah.
And so when you say a lot of it's analytics from a back office perspective, you mean as far as improving how you understand your customer base or fan base and understanding what they want, or personalization? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's like I mentioned, that is the largest area of movement. We're using it a lot we get a lot of data, and understanding open-ended data has always been a challenge. Mm-hmm. It's a challenge for everybody, I think.
Yeah.
And it's opened up quite a lot of capacity. Very recently using it to do some sentiment analysis work.
Gotcha.
That's, we will questionnaire every customer after their game, and we want to understand what their concerns are. Mm-hmm. And it gives us a tool to make it faster. Mm-hmm. Mostly it's sped up the process. We're doing better with speed. Mm-hmm. We can turn it around in a week rather than having a person read it.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan. Previous viewers would know I'm a big fan of AI augmentation of my job today, right? Anything in AI that can make me faster, more productive, and more accurate is going to be a great gain for not only you as a person, but you as an organization. We've talked about AI agents in previous episodes, and I'm looking forward to the day that I can have the Andrew AI agent talk to the IRS AI agent, and I never have to worry about my taxes again. I think as LLMs and agents adopt and grow, you'll see a lot more of this sort of fan engagement improve as well.
The difference in sports is, though, the person will always want to be involved. They don't want to be talking to an LLM. They want to be talking to the baseball player.
When I've been on baseball games, you see the people with the score sheets and they're manually running that. Are we seeing AI?
Oh, yeah. Are you seeing that?
No, I don't see that changing. That's part of the fun of the game.
Totally.
People do that very intentionally because they want to engage with the sport in that form. It forces them to watch the game in a different form.
Yeah.
So the scorecard people, I don't see that changing.
Do you see a new type of scorecard person that might be like getting more of their data together and doing a little bit more research to be more competitive?
Can you imagine a scorecard that predicts the next thing that's going to happen, and is it true or false? What a great way to train your model.
It's
reinforcement learning, right?
It's an interesting intersection because although we haven't talked about this, and who knows how this is all guesses, but gambling in the sport is a very big deal.
Yep.
And what you mentioned, I could absolutely see as being part of the equation if you were a game by moment person.
Play by play.
Because some of that is.
I didn't realize I had. Did I have play by play?
We don't have it in California.
Okay.
We have not voted it in twice now, but about 2/3 of the league has it, and it's a non-trivial part of the sport.
Yeah, I was wondering where that was getting to because I remember a couple of years ago it was very, very much in its infancy, and you came and visited some of the Australian sporting teams that are quite advanced in that. So
it's that's an area since we don't have it, we don't really. I don't know that much about it, but I know that there's a lot of concern around making sure it's fair. So, and now with LLMs, it's probably just another point that we have to concern ourselves with, making sure you're not able to get an unfair advantage.
Do you see, personalizing a fan's experience and their interactions with the San Francisco Giants moving forward being something that AI could assist with, or do you see that as maybe not such a need?
There is some of that. I know that we did very recently kind of semi-AI-ish, but not full on, a season recap of your experience.
That was exactly where I was going to go next.
That's something we did this year. We used a vendor to do it, and it was effort. There's a lot of data. And
data overload is definitely one of the issues that I see everywhere. So, and then tying that into the actual user as well.
So you got delivered some content about what your experience was, how many walk-off home runs you saw, or any number of other things that would have been part of your fan experience. So things like that I see being much more relevant in the future. When I saw it, I was like, this is something AI can do better with, because of the amount of effort it was taking. It was an awful lot of effort.
The AI generated superfan. You have all the stats all the time at your fingertips, which to me sounds great. If it's something that you're that engaged with, enabling that and driving that, it certainly sounds like a win for everybody involved.
So you had a swag of questions in your first question, and I've tried to dive a little deeper into one specific area. And what was some of the other questions you wanted to ask for Dan?
I was talking about AI scouting and AI coaching, and even AI on and off field. What excites me about baseball is, like I said, the intersection between traditionalism and the new era of technology. What is that intersection looking like today? Where AI is concerned. And I guess that's what this podcast is all about today. What is that intersection? Is it just fan engagement? Is it just scouting? It's going to be all things, let's face it. But let's talk about those things that make it up. And scouting, let's talk about scouting. Are you seeing any changes in scouting? I know the Giants is a big organization, so not everyone's involved in everything, but are you seeing any exciting changes in scouting?
I'd say that baseball as an entity is big on any way to get an advantage. And AI is the next, that's the nature of sport in general. And our baseball people are definitely interested in finding ways to leverage this. Middle term ideas tied to injury things. There's just a lot there.
Like rehab.
Rehab and I could see there be a fair amount there. A machine vision detecting if you're doing something wrong and being able to discern that faster.
Yeah, you see it in a lot of other sports. A lot of analysis on the way someone will be doing whatever it is, whether it's golf or equestrian or whatever that is, to be able to help correct them in how they use their biomechanics.
Exactly. The biomechanics field in general has exploded, I think, in all sport. And beyond that, there's, sleep analysis and all the other kind of the wellness side of things, which I could see some additional use cases of, mostly looking for outliers or, anomalies in the data that's coming out of that.
Totally. So is it a data arms race? Are teams all on a level playing field here? Or, are there some teams that may have more advantage with more data? Like, are there any legislative or governance issues with data and AI and access to cloud that could be preventing some teams from advancing, or is it just purely?
Or are some teams better funded than others, so they can do more than others from a competitive advantage point of view?
If this was 10 years ago, I would say absolutely. Investment levels have vastly changed in baseball. Everybody invests to a pretty high degree in technology as a solution to baseball problems. So it's changed. It will probably follow a similar pattern in AI. We don't know. It's still so new that, I know some teams are leading the way. We're hoping to be one of those teams. Early adopters versus, second round people. That's the big push, is to be early adopter. Traditionally, we've been pretty quick at, we're one of the one of the teams that will do things first.
And we want
to continue that.
Yeah, you've been pretty early adopters. I mean, you've been doing vision, machine learning for a very long time. As part of the game, analysis and beyond. So, it's a natural kind of progression, right?
No, I'd see that that trending the same way. Once a better understanding of the legislation question that you had, it's a tricky thing because there's so much power behind some of the data, but you don't really we won't use it if it's not legal. So things like HIPAA and we have CCPA, which somewhat limits what we want to do.
Totally. Now, how are you seeing, push into another topic of AI advancements, AI umpiring? Like, what are the advancements in that space? I do want to talk to you about your tools as well. Like, we're talking about all these advances in AI, so maybe we can cover off some tools as well, which would be kind of interesting. But let's cover off AI umpiring. Is that something that's coming hard and fast? What's happening in that space?
Over the last, I'd say, 5 years, the league has been looking at umpiring as a way to be improved on. It's more machine vision based, but there's been a project for a very long time on that, and at some point we'll see. They've been sampling it in the minor leagues, and so far it's been really successful. It would never be, a game will probably never be called by a robo umpire, but there is a very real chance that our umpires will be assisted by.
I was going to ask, what's the actual need that's driving that?
I mean, that's a controversial question.
Okay.
Because not so much controversial. It's a fan thing. Fans get frustrated with bad calls.
Okay.
In all sports.
Yeah. But bad calls are part of the sport.
Got it.
So there are people who actually want bad calls.
Okay.
to be part of it. And
Gotcha.
That's
if
a
you had
human
a
nature, right?
perfectly accurate umpire every
It's
time,
unbiased.
I mean, there's a lot of work over the last 20 years with catchers. Catcher framing is like a thing that the sport really focused on. So catcher framing means nothing in the age of robo-umps.
Mhm.
Or very little. It means a lot less.
Yeah, okay. And the main reason why I ask is, for example, in something like, I do equestrian. In equestrian sports, it's because they can't find enough people to be able to man a lot of the kind of judges for doing these things, and it's actually come down to a volunteer person kind of thing. So I'm
Even
just
up to the pro
interested.
levels for equestrian. Whereas,
Correct.
different sports have different engagement levels, or
So different needs. So
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
interesting to think that it actually comes down to countering out or evening out a human's call.
Yeah.
And you'll never want to replace that human in that particular instance, but you might want to have, someone that comes across as unbiased, which is the robocall, right?
Exactly. And I think
That's
that
really interesting.
if I can guess, I think we will get it right. It will, like I said, it will be called by an umpire. If he disagrees, he'll make the wrong call. But it's a trick because there's an art to the pitch and how you read the pitch,
Mhm.
and defining the perfect strike zone it's a real challenge because the human element has been part of it for 150 years.
Totally. So AI umpiring or robo umpiring is a partial improvement. We'll see. I think baseball is a long way away from having on-field AI wearables.
Yeah. I think it'd be fair to say that the human element in baseball is what makes baseball baseball.
I think so as well.
From a fan base.
The fans and the players are every type of person, and it's amazing to watch. So it's always fun to have that sort of human touch side to it. Whereas you see some other sports that are highly orchestrated, and it feels sometimes more like a machine rather than something for me. And I really feel that difference in a baseball game. So it's exciting to see getting our players fitter and healthier on the field, getting our fans more engaged, and seeing how we can improve that for sure. One of the things I'm interested in, and I mentioned a moment ago, is tool sets. Like what are you using today? Are you using LLMs? What Gen AI tools are you using? What's the data team looking like at the moment in the Giants in terms of
generally speaking?
or generally
Sure.
speaking, yeah.
Again, I'm AI first, so I have done something that as a software engineer you just don't do very often. I actually changed my UI.
All right.
I went to Cursor and I love it.
Okay.
It is a great tool. That is kind of an AI first software engineering tool that makes engineering easier.
I'm still stuck in JetBrains, so that's
Get me out of JetBrains.
I mean, I've been a PyCharm guy for 15 years, and before that, Sublime.
Yeah.
And so this is literally like the third
before
time
that,
I've
VI.
changed.
If you don't know how to escape Vim, you're in trouble.
I actually used Micro on a Docker just last week, so I won't use any of those old school command things, but that's too hard.
And from an LLM perspective, do you see that commoditizing soon as far as what the models are concerned? And there's less of a focus on that and maybe more?
Yeah, no, there's definitely, similar to your argument with baseball, the arms race. There's definitely an arms race on the large models.
Yes.
And I use basically all three major ones.
Okay. I was going to ask, are you leaning towards commercial LLMs, or are you looking at open source more?
I am a big open source guy.
Okay.
I love open source, but as a engineer, open source doesn't do quite as well. It doesn't quite have the same capacity. I use pretty much OpenAI's ChatGPT
Mhm.
a fair bit. That's sort of my number one. But I use Claude a ton in software engineering. It probably writes better code.
Interesting.
Right now, they just released a new model that's supposed to literally like today. So I'm coming off a early morning success using Claude.
Nice. I like
that
to
I was
use,
fighting for a while.
I was going to say I like to use a couple of LLMs to look at my code. Again, I like to augment my workflow, and I will use it to do a code review for my own code. So I'll get it to look for issues or problems that I can fix.
Anything that you can remove toil is, that's what you want to do. Well, that's me personally.
Augmentation, anything that sometimes like writer's block, I get coder's block. I'm trying to write some code and just can't think of a name. Sometimes I get caught up on a class name or something, right? And I just go, what can I call this class? So silly stuff, but totally true.
Yeah, no, it's a little different for me as an engineer because I have sort of gone full over into writing my simple code. Being a senior engineer, I don't tend to write super complex stuff. It's more somewhat basic, and the LLMs have been doing a really great job with that. It takes me massively less time than it would have. Just the act of typing.
Even, yeah.
I mean, I have done. It's interesting because sometimes I'll have a job that's 300 lines, and to write 300 lines in the AI is like 30 seconds. Writing 300 lines, just typing it bug-free as a person would take a while.
Totally. I think your role as well, right? You're a director role, so you've got a bit of code to do. You've got a bit of evangelist type work to do as well. So your role is quite diverse, and it's often hard to get those long periods of hands-on code. You need few interruptions to produce great code.
Absolutely. So
let alone analyze the data, like a JSON packet or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, doing analysis like that type of thing on large structures, I mean, pattern recognition and prediction is its strength. There's some other areas, not so much.
I mean, in the engineering space, I would say it's number one thing that makes it easier for me is complex JSON isn't human readable.
No.
I mean, it's never been human readable.
And you have to convert it to many things.
Exactly.
Often.
Yep.
And so when you get a complex JSON, pack it back, having it do the work rather than whatever tool you happen to like, it's just a lot easier.
Absolutely.
And
developer productivity is great.
Yeah, it's amazing how much faster you can return from complex or even less complex returns. It's very good at telling you what's in there and giving you the path to get to that data.
Yeah. I'm just conscious you've got some more questions.
Oh,
before we wrap it up.
Look, I guess AI started off as simple predictive analytics, linear regressions, things like that, and that's where we got to with predictions. That's the staple of AI ML in all industries. We're implementing it everywhere. I was going to ask, where do you see AI going beyond what we're doing today? We've had a great conversation about developer productivity. We've talked about AI umpiring. We've talked a little bit about injury management. We've talked a little bit about fan engagement. But where do you see not just 1 year, but maybe 5 years or even further?
It's a bit hard.
I know but it's what we forecast, right? And that's fine. I understand the challenge, but that's where we can go today. Like, what are we thinking about? Can we see batter swings getting better, pitches getting faster, pitch getting faster? Could we attribute that to AI enhancements of the biomechanics that we mentioned about? Are we going to see a faster game or bigger hits, more home runs? Do we need to look at some of the the rules because we've improved our biomechanics so much. Are we going to see?
What are the key kind of trends that you think, if you had to pick three, what do you think would be the three key things to watch out for over the next year or more?
Probably a little bit beyond a year, but I absolutely see the number one thing actually being auto translation. Content creation made easy. Could I see us having a live translation that actually works of a game in 5 different languages? Perhaps. That seems like a relatively middle term future that is sort of an easy guess. Content creation in general, we are an entertainment business and it does content creation really well. So I see our ability to deliver better, more engaging content as a future that will definitely be part of it.
Last one. What's your last prediction for us, Dan?
As far as the baseball side, it's hard to know exactly where it will play, but if the last 5 or 10 years has anything to say, it's going to be injury improvement, understanding either prevention or
rehabilitation.
Yeah, certainly.
Great.
All right.
Predictions.
Okay, those are the predictions for what's happening in AI and baseball. Any final statements or?
No, this has been great.
It's been great.
Thank you, Dan.
And
thank you very much.
Did you want to talk about how to outreach that the Giants are doing, or anything that you'd like to cover off?
No, I've just been. I've mentioned it a couple times. We do a lot of outreach as far as community things, and I could absolutely see an effect in AI in that space also. But that's an area that we care about. I care about a lot. So hopefully we see not just on the field, but
off the field as well.
Off the field as well.
All right.
Community.
Well, that's it. That's another episode of Hot and High Deep Dive, talking about AI and baseball. Keep an eye on the baseball space. It's an exciting sport, and there's a lot happening. And I think we'll continue to see development across not just baseball, but all sports.